Hi, friends. This is Dr. Arpita Gupta Dipalma, and you're listening to my podcast, From Pissed Off to Poised. This show is for busy women physicians and professionals just like you who are ready to take control of their emotions while learning how to excel in juggling all the things they are responsible for in life. It's for overextended mamas who are trying to figure out how to work smarter, not harder. It's for multitasking women who are tired of playing the role of the angry and resentful air traffic controller, who simply want to learn how to create a life that is more calm, intentional, and joyful for themselves. My goal is to help you learn how to eliminate the overwhelm and maintain your composure in high-stress situations that you face with the demands in your day-to-day life. Because I get you guys, this was totally me. You are not alone. I invite you to embark on your journey of transformation with me. Enjoy the listen. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of From Pissed Off to Poised. I am super excited today to have one of my dearest clients, and I can say friends, with me. I decided that I wanted to bring Dr. Sonja Grigg on to the show because, quite frankly, she reminded me a lot of myself when I started this journey. And I say this with total love, but when I met Dr. Grigg back in 2021, I had already began the journey of building my awareness and starting to do the work around coaching. And what I realized was I met a mini me, in a sense, where there are other humans in this world who are beautiful and amazing and just have this glow to them, yet they have no awareness around it. They have no ability to recognize the power of who they are. So Sonja and I had a conversation. This was actually back in Mirabal where we met. And we just started chatting, and I just had a conversation with her where she, I think, started to maybe see that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And so before I get into that too deeply, I want Sonja to tell you her story. So Sonja, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Arpita.
Hi. I love you so much. I appreciate you coming on. And I really want to just dive right in with a bunch of questions. But I first want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and all the things.
Got it. So by profession, I'm a primary care doctor. I live here in Charlotte. I am a mom of two little boys, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I am married to an oncologist, so a very doctory household that has together been learning how to be free, how to relax, how to stop caring so much and carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders.
Amazing, amazing. And I personally have seen you on your journey. Sonja and I worked together for a little bit over a year, I think, maybe even longer than that.
I think we were about 2.5 years of coaching together.
Amazing. And one of the things that I just really am so proud of to have seen with her evolution is just when I think back to where she was the day I met her and where she is today. And so I want you, if you don't mind, Sonja, to maybe describe that to our audience, like where you were in your life and career before we began working together.
So referencing where I met Arpita, Mirabal, at that time, I was actually going on this trip with my sister for my sister, which I think speaks to how I was living my life. I was doing everything for somebody else. I was doing all the right, quote unquote, right things because I thought I should, and totally suppressing my own spirit, my own kind of inherent life force. On the outside, my world looked like a job. I would go to work early in the morning, drop my kids off at daycare, come home pretty exhausted, really not wanting to connect with my husband, not play with my kids, tired every day, shoulders aching. Weekends I spent, trying to recover from the grueling work week. And in a way, I was living a checklist. I had went to college, went to med school, finished residency, got my job, got married. I had one baby at the time. So I was doing all the things I thought would make me happy. And yet inside, I was shriveling up. I was cold. I was distant. I was really unhappy in this beautiful life that I had.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like so familiar, so common, I think. So many people can relate to that. So I think back and I remember that conversation, but do you remember what the tipping point was that you had the awareness to notice that you needed to change? Something had to change.
I think inside of me, I knew my inner knowing, my wisdom, my intuition was telling me something needed to change. One thing that comes up is in clinic, all the time I'm telling people to reduce stress. We all know, we feel what stress does on our bodies. And I was saying it over and over again, but I had no concept of what that meant, especially, right? Most of us can't quit a job. We can't entirely shift our world. We can little by little, but we have no idea how to go about reducing stress. And I was one of those. And yet I'm preaching, oh, you got to do it. You got to do it. And I couldn't do it for myself.
Yeah. I think the first thing that you said was that you had this intuition. That was the tipping point, that something was telling you in your gut and your inner knowing that you needed to change. And I would offer that that is your glimmer of awareness, right?
Mm.
That safety line that came that we all have in us. It's just learning to listen to it and learning to actually give it a little bit of airtime. That's exactly what you did there. You gave it that glimmer. And as you're saying, like when you are going through your day to day and you're doing your routine and you're telling the patients, you got to do this to eliminate stress, you have to do this to feel better, you're doing your routine while at the same time not acknowledging that your intuition is saying, I need this too. Right. And so that's where there was, in a sense, lack of awareness. You're going in through the day-to-day routine and you're not aware of what you need, yet your inner knowing at finally some point said, we need to stop. Something has to change. And so it's crazy how it works, that you finally hit this tipping point, this breaking point where you're like, no, it's going to change. My gut is saying something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to think back to, obviously we started working together, and one of the first things that I start teaching and talking about, it's my very first module, is actually building awareness, right? Asking yourself, what am I thinking? And being more present with your mind and your thoughts each day. So did you have like a breakthrough moment where you realized that you actually had something called awareness, like the option of this?
I remember noticing how much during the day I was holding my breath, which was sort of the first clue to me existing on a higher level than the me functioning day to day, moment to moment, seeing patients in clinic, making dinner, putting my kids to bed. So I, in a way, grew one layer up, just simply noticing, oh, here is Sonja holding her breath. Here's something going on. Here's what she's doing. So starting to zoom out of my life.
So tell me, what did you make that mean? Like when you notice, oh shit, I'm holding my breath during the day, like what happened then?
Oh gosh. Arpita, it was eye-opening to see how I lived my day not breathing. I lived my day with tight shoulders and a totally stiff body, cutting off my own air.
Wow. I mean, it is so powerful when we just go back and think about that, right? Like we are so consumed with what is happening in the moment with regards to getting things done that we don't even realize that we're not even breathing. Super powerful. So I want you to think about, as we started doing this work, this is a super surprising discovery right here that, oh my God, I'm not breathing. I need to do that first. ABCs, we're kind of taught that. Now it's backwards. I know with the new CPR stuff, but what came next as you started having this discovery? Okay, I'm not breathing. Let's start breathing, Sonja. Let's like actually get some oxygen into our cells. What came as the next step for what you wanted to do, like the craving for more?
So paying attention inside recharged my will to live in a way. Like I was reinvesting the energy in myself instead of always giving it outward. And immediately, little by little, you're feeling better. And I'm like, I haven't changed anything really of my life externally, but simply paying attention to me, paying attention to what's going on inside of me gave me agency to make tiny shifts. Okay, say no to this last task in the day. Say no to that commitment on the weekend. Take time to sleep. Take time to, sit down and have a full meal. And so these tiny changes slowly, the energy was flowing back into me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really can't think of major, no specific moment comes to mind I can share, but little by little, you have more energy to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mood improves, your love for others, your softness grows. You can tolerate a ton more.
Mm-hmm.
And it shifted the mom I was, the wife I was, the doctor I was in clinic. And then the gifts from the world added more to this desire to pay attention to me. Because what I viewed as selfish, right, was actually selfless because I was able to be such a better person in this world by taking care of myself.
Yeah, totally. So good. So do you remember, or do you still use actually things in your day to day to help remind you to pay attention, to have that awareness? Like, what are your go-tos?
I constantly am paying attention to how my body feels. Where do I feel tightness? Where am I holding my breath? Am I hungry? Am I tired? I'm working now to give myself everything I need before my body's screaming at me. And now starting my day with meditation or, connecting with my inner knowing, I want to do it for myself. I'm excited to do it. Whereas before it was, oh, I know I should do this. Like every book I read, every, study that comes out points to value in this, and I'm doing it because I should. And now I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, you feel the power of it, that your ability to have the awareness. And I think that inner wisdom that comes to us when we give ourselves the moment to just be present with ourselves. People are a lot of times worried that I can't meditate because I'm too busy with all the thoughts that go through my head. And, I've said it and I've taught it before in other classes that part of that work is just noticing that so you can bring yourself back to the breath or whatever. And that's where you start to have that inner peace, and the practice makes you better at it.
Arpita, what you just said reminds me how I resisted meditating. I felt like I wasn't doing it right.
Yeah.
And that also speaks to the way I was living. I was so focused on being perfect and doing things perfectly that it prevented me from taking care of myself.
Yeah,
I
from
was,
even starting.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm taking care of everything. I'm taking care of everybody. So that was a turning point, realizing that it's my anxiety, actually, my anxiety to control everything, to be perfect, to have everything done the right way was entirely killing my life force.
100%. And that it's a fear. It's a fear of not succeeding or failing in certain areas and the repercussions of it that kind of kept you and keeps a lot of us in this state of not even trying, not putting it out there. And so even just having that awareness, and I love the way you said, because this is what we teach, is that you have to be in tune to your body first in order to do anything, because our body keeps a score. I'll be talking about in upcoming episodes where when we have these events that are traumatic to us from the past and it just kind of seeps into our body reacts with those same physical vibrations whenever anything else in our environment in our current day bring up the same type of emotion. And so it's super important to be able to tune into that. And unfortunately, as physicians, we have been taught, we have been ingrained and kind of pounded into our brain to not pay attention to that because we have to take care of the patient first. We have to do all the tasks at hand. Then we can go rest if we get to. Then we can go use the bathroom. Then we can go eat, all of those things. And so it takes actually a lot more work for physicians to go back and start to learn, what does this mean when my shoulder is tight? What does this mean when I find myself holding my breath? And that's where the awareness starts to grow, where we can first notice, how is it showing up for us? And then asking ourselves, what exactly is causing it to be there? What does it mean?
Mm-hmm. And speaking to the medical training, we are taught to fix people's problems. We are taught to immediately take that weight upon ourselves. And therefore, you then judge yourself by the outcomes of other people. Further, disconnecting you from carrying what's yours to carry and not judging yourself by factors outside of your control.
So I want to ask you, with the journey that you're on and building your awareness around your thoughts and your emotions and how your body carries them, how has this impacted you with regards to how you show up with your patients and how you take care of patients?
Oh, my heart is just softer. I'm open. I am relaxed. I see the goodness in everybody. That's forefront. And seeing that we all want the same things. We are all struggling in similar ways in our own mind prisons. And we're all on this journey of awareness, journey of self-actualization. And now I listen better. I don't judge as much. I don't have expectations as much. I'm just softer. And I think everyone around me feels more comfortable because automatically they feel that I'm meeting them as a human, not meeting them as, oh, I'm the physician here telling you what to do, trying to fix your problem.
And essentially, you are still doing that, but in a different way, in a much more, not just palatable, but like desired way from the patient standpoint.
Yeah, a much more gentle, softer, playful way, like
Mhm.
so much more laughter, jokes, and I come in and I give you a hug, which is completely different than how I was taught, to be professional and distance myself and not get attached.
Mhm. So good. What are some like unexpected benefits or outcomes you've seen or noticed, or maybe even that your family and loved ones have noticed from the changes you've made?
Currently, we are in a transition point. I left my last job and I'm planning to start a new position next year. And so I took this gap year, which is unheard of in my life. Unheard of to take a break and just be and just play with my kids. I'm also doing things I'd never do. I care about plants. I am gardening. I am writing. I guess this creativity is flowing out of me. That was always there. It was just suppressed and it was too scared to come out because
Yeah.
unaware Sonja was conforming to rules.
Yeah. You didn't have the awareness, right? I think
Mhm.
that's amazing just to see. Like, we all have this desire to want to dream and create and have the potential to do it. But again, we get kind of caught up in that day to day and we lose the ability to have insight and perspective on what's going on when we become that human, that person. And so it really takes that pause and the intentionality to say, I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to just look and reflect and decide that I don't have to react or respond in this way. I don't have to think this way. I don't have to believe this belief that I have because it's not serving me anymore. And that is what I think the gradual evolution becomes when we start to do it. We start to notice that, oh, yeah, I've been thinking this the whole time and I actually don't have to. I can choose a different way. That's kind of what is the incentive to keep doing it, to keep wanting to explore. It's amazing what we create, the potential that we can tap into when we actually just slow it down for a minute and think about what's going on and what we can let go of and what we want to bring on. I want to ask you, just being cognizant of the time, I want to ask you now, what do you do daily or weekly or whatever? What's your routine to help maintain your awareness and these positive changes that you've implemented? Like, if you look back to where you were then and where you are now and what you're doing on a consistent basis, what are those things?
So, like I had touched on, it's continually checking in with myself on what my needs are, what's going on inside my body. It is starting the day with time for self-reflection. It is having a very clear intention to everything I'm doing. I know why I am doing what I am doing all the time now. In a way, what I'm giving my energy to is a lot clearer to me. And I make room for nothing. I make room for emptiness, for other things to fall in that would never fall in if I'm so busy. And yeah, holding my fear, recognizing it's there, it's right, evolutionarily imprinted into my brain, but not allowing it to dictate how I'm living, what I'm doing.
So good.
And by no means, to anyone listening, is this perfect? Am I successful all the time? Not at all. But I definitely try to do me instead of the me that I thought I should be.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that there is no perfectionism to this work, just like that falsehood of perfectionism anywhere in our life really is the kind of mirage that we're creating for ourselves. But with this work, it's the continual growth of recognizing, oh, okay, I really actually didn't have the awareness there about this. I was just kind of going through the motions or doing what the imprinted pattern is without really realizing that it's not in alignment with what I want to do with my inner knowing.
One thing that just came up to help show the audience, my complete lack of awareness, despite being a medical professional and constantly, talking about trauma and childhood experiences, it did not occur to me until age 34, everyone, that I had trauma. There was no acknowledgement of that in my mind. And now the subconscious I have to learn from to make conscious is bigger and bigger as my awareness grows. There's more and more.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And we're actually going to be diving into that in the next couple of episodes because, like you, I swear we're twins. But I think this is actually common for majority of people is that we have traumas and they could be big traumas or little traumas in our past that kind of mold who we are today with regards to how we react to things, to situations. And starting to kind of understand that is the key to really noticing why we are the way we are. And that's what lets us then decide that we don't need to be ashamed about it. We can actually grow from it and then use that to our benefit to give ourselves compassion and love for making that change, And if you can't do that first, it's hard to make the change. You probably can do it, but it's very difficult. So there's easier ways to do it.
A way this came up for me, Arpita, I always knew I wanted to be a doctor. I knew how much I liked helping others feel well. But now as I'm digging into the true me, digging through the childhood me, I think I became a doctor to protect my family, to save my family. And the stuff that happened in my childhood that totally guided me, there's no question, to my career.
Mm-hmm.
And it is only now that I'm realizing this archetypal pattern.
Yeah, it's a way of your brain maybe subconsciously noticing it, like left brain silo, where we've compartmentalized the traumas that we've had, that our ancestors have had, and how we're going to try to counteract that or prevent that from happening in the future, too. It's funny. The title of this episode is I'm Not Angry, You're Angry. And I want to just tell a quick story before we leave. When Sonja and I started coaching, she was like, I want to coach with you, but I don't really need the anger stuff. I just want to coach with you for other things. And I was like, okay. And we started, I think it was in our second or third session together. She started telling me about this little situation in her household with a family member. And it was kind of comical because immediately she was telling me about how pissed off she was about this and how it was so irritating to her. And she was like, oh my God, I am angry. And that's kind of why I titled this episode, I'm Not Angry, You're Angry, because part of this is just not even having that awareness when we have any emotion, including anger. We don't have the awareness around it because we're not tuned into it.
Right. Culture, family, especially as a woman, taught me you cannot be angry. And so here I am in my adult world, living my life, not even recognizing my anger. And so it's right, as we bottle it down, it's going to come up in totally unexpected, undesired ways.
Right. Oftentimes misdirected, oftentimes out of proportion to what it needs to be. And so that's part of the doing this work, is just starting to have that awareness around, oh, hey, it's okay. I actually was angry here and it's okay. It makes sense. And we're going to understand it a little bit more so I can maybe not be that reactionary next time. So,
Arpita, I want to share one sentence you said to me that really helped calm down my inner battle and self-judgment. Was you said something like, Sonja, you're not bad for having these thoughts. You're not bad. And that was showing me how much I was identifying myself with my thoughts and needing to learn, first to separate my thoughts from my emotions, and learning that I am neither. I am this mystical, magical creature above that.
100%. Right. Because we think our thoughts are exactly what we are, who we are. And when we start to have the awareness that we can actually choose something different, if we want to, that's gold, right? And whatever we're having is not bad. Whatever the thoughts we're having, the negative thoughts we're having about ourselves or other people, is not bad, because that's our primitive brain doing its job, trying to keep us safe, protecting us in some manner based on things that it knows from the past.
Right. Without your awareness, you're not aware of your choices. And the higher your awareness level, the more choices you have.
Yes. So, so true. Well, I love that you agreed to talk to our people today just to share it. It's on a higher level, honestly, I think, this episode, in terms of talking about awareness, because we are very complex human beings. We have the capacity to do things that we may not even realize we can do. And that's part of what this work is about. I want to say there are certain people, when you work as a coach with clients, you can pick up which clients have a knack for it, in a sense. And Sonja was one of my clients like that, where you could tell that the awareness and the amount of intensity and in-depth work she was wanting to do on herself is what actually promoted and led to the growth that she did have. So much so that she is now also studying a program to do
Yeah,
coaching.
that's another thing. In my year of no doing, here I am doing another,
Yeah.
fun, creative, side soul supporting project.
So doing that, like having that ability to say, I love this, I want to do this, and I want to help others. And that's kind of what she's incorporating also in her life. So I want to say thank you, Sonja, for coming on today to tell people your perspective of what you saw, where you were at before and where you are now, and tell our audience a little bit about what you're doing and if they want to reach out to you, how they can reach you and all the things.
First, I just want to say everything you need is inside of you. Everything is there. Every single thing is there. The work is listening to it, tuning into it, trusting it, allowing it to guide your life. And so I am, like Arpita mentioned, doing my own coaching certification. And in the meantime, I'm building a support group. Currently, right now, it's a support group type as I build kind of the coaching thing I want to do. I don't even know what I want to call it, but
You'll figure it out.
Speaking from my heart, and it's speaking to women who have worked so hard to create a life that they're not enjoying and not knowing why, to women who live with a deep sense of unease without having a clue of where it's coming from. It's too early to verbalize it yet.
Okay, well, we'll keep in touch.
I don't know which direction it's going.
She's doing amazing things, and she's going to be offering that to her people when she's ready. And I'm just excited that you had the awareness to say this is something that resonated with you as well, and you're offering to give it back. And any human who gets to work with you and your amazingly soft and gentle and lovey self is just a lucky human. So,
my Arpita.
Well, thank you, my dear. I appreciate you coming on, and I hope our guests got to see maybe a glimmer of how awareness is super important in the life of each and every one of us. And I look forward to maybe talking to you again more later about something else.
I can't wait.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Arpita.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of From Pissed Off to Poised. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination, so enjoy the ride. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review From Pissed Off to Poised on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback supports my mission to get this podcast out to help other women physicians and professionals like you on their path to creating a more peaceful life with more intention and more joy. I enjoy reading every message I get with your input and feedback on my journey, so keep them coming. And if you have a friend who might enjoy the listen, please share this episode and share with them. Lastly, if you want to learn more about my coaching programs and course offerings, check out my website at www.thoughtworkmd.com. Feel free to reach out to me to learn more about investing in yourself through one-to-one coaching so you can start living the life you've always wanted. This show is for general educational and entertainment purposes only. Life coaching is not a substitute for therapy or medical treatment.